Yo, man. I just,
I start off with the trumpet.
alright. First and foremost, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rahmakadosh. Double honors to the apostle, elders, and bishop, great blessing, prophecy, out of citation to the elect, and to the men that died on the birth of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, to the son of our spirits, to the men, women, and children that believe on the true name of the Father and the Son. The Father's name is Yahweh, he exists. The Son's name is Yahushua, he is the deliverer. He is coming to deliver us out of this captivity that we're in, everything that we're going. We always get tested. It's like even today, man. It's hard to think. It's hard to see.
Hey, John, me and the brother was talking. The more we get into the scriptures, like the other girl said, rock it down. We're gonna be tested more. We're gonna be tested more, and that's Sirach the second chapter. You know, that speaks about those tests, you know, coming to fruition, right? Because we're looking ahead. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. We know the end is the new beginning. So once we approach that, through this word, we know everything's about to end. So with that, the only defense is what? The word. That's our only defense. And there's nothing that could fucking forgive my, you know, but there's nothing that could, your job, your children, your money, your house, your loans, mortgage, whatever, the benefits, there's nothing that could defend. You can't run from your judgment. None of us could run from our own individual judgment. You know? That's why Isaiah said what? 55. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Because Yahweh Shah said, yo, these are the things that's going to occur in the latter days, which we're in the latter days, before his second return. And granted, There's always been wars. There's always been plagues. So that's why these people feel like they have the liberty to just continue because judgment is not expedient. But World War III didn't occur yet, and the MOTB didn't occur yet. So that's how we know that we're at the end of the end. That's how we know. You know?
Okay. Hey, you know, you stood over here on this side. We still in different places. We still down there, a lot of places. Every time. Besides down there, over here, it's like, you can't be out.
Situation issue.
You can't be out here. That's the police was telling us today. So we understand, man. Like this, family of the word, man.
Even we went down to Creek, we had an officer there. Man, come on, man. Leave us alone.
That's an earth piece, man. That's an earth piece. That's all. Honestly,
Damn.
honestly, all you want to be is up home.
Yeah, just be at
That's
peace.
all you want, man. You just want to be left alone, man. Because like, hey, you're not bothering nobody. No. Just tell the truth, man.
Hey, but man, the scriptures say the things that was written aforetime was written by learning. Yo, the beloved apostle Paul, he spoke peace in the sense of get out of that judgment, get out of your ways, because that's the real peace. They locked him up. They locked Jeremiah. They stoned Philip in the temple. You know, they brought them Yahushua to the governors. They brought all of our forefathers because they spoke. And you know what? It wasn't peace because everything that goes on here goes contrary to what the scriptures say. So now, if you speak in the scriptures, you're considered a rebel.
Yeah.
You know,
Domestic terrorists. That's what they label us.
whatever,
Yeah,
extremists,
extremists.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Because now Trump just passed the executive order not too long ago. You could get locked up for any reason, for any cause, and anywhere you at, as long as you in the
Hey,
United States.
that sound like a job in this wicked kingdom, right? They can do whatever they want, whenever they want, how they want it. You can't do nothing about it. But guess who's going to do something about it? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 10.
Good.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Because they're never gonna rise up again. Why? Because our people is never gonna sin again as a nation. So we're never gonna go through these curses again.
Huh.
That's why the Lord set them niggas up for a reason, man.
Hey, set them up to fail, set them up to fall. But you guys think because of the power that Yahweh Ba'Shem Shah has given you, that you can do whatever you want to his people, which are the so-called blacks, the so-called Native Americans, and the so-called Latinos. Right?
Even like last week, right? Down here, what happened? It's only like we still get these black radios. We're not too far from where we at. It's like a backup spot. It's a big weather, you know. But
To back up, this is the lot.
in front of
You know?
this wasn't right here,
God,
which was helpful.
God.
For real help. And y'all, he even told me, you go over here, go over there. You just can't stand right here. I was like, damn. What's the like? If I go across the street, what's the purpose?
Right.
It's the same thing. But they let them YNs come and do whatever they want to do and all that. But we out here preaching the word, man. Coming out the Bible, man. Not doing nothing wrong. We're not even. I remember like the first time I ever came out here, I was still say a YN or one who's in the world, I'm right here. Before I even like ask permission to preach out here, and I know I was going to like teacher at that time. I asked the cop, I was like, yo, man, listen. I said, am I able to speak out here? He was like, yeah. He was like, these niggas need to hear about Jesus. That's what he was saying. I took it to the book, you know. But now what you learn more, you know, is Yahweh Shai or Yahweh. You can't come and telling people that, man. They're going to buck up against it, man. Yo, the Lord put them in a position to be able to even be out here and try to
disrupt,
govern us.
disrupting the
Govern
word,
us. Yeah, they're trying to govern
causing
us.
chaos.
Yeah, they're trying to govern us. But yo, you had last week all that chaos. You probably say all that chaos out there last week. We ain't caused none of that. They said we're locking the whole this down. I said, damn, that's crazy, man. We ain't do nothing wrong, man.
And here's the thing, that's just gradualism. Because guess what? It's going to be go down this block. Now you got to go down this block. Before it's going to be ain't going to be nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a damn scene at the office. I had to move offices every day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I mean? Come on, man. I got some more on this stuff. It says, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou wast as one of them.
They cast lots. They did the same thing with Yahweh Shai. When Yahweh Shai was on it, like, Yahweh Shai was on that cross, man. They was like, let me get a piece of his garment. Cast lots on them. Remember, Malak the Wise, he speaks about that. You cast a lot on somebody trying to cut off a piece of his garment. This is like us out here right now. If we were somebody cut off a piece of your garment, like, yo, I got this, I got that. That's crazy, man. That lets you know that it's like they conquered you. But they didn't conquer Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai said out his own mouth. He said, man, no man takes my life. I lay it down. You know? But that's bad for them. It's like what Judas did. He did what he did, and we all know about that. All you gotta do is be, you know? He did what he did, and look what happened. His food, everything, spilled out of your body. Because he was wicked, man. He was wicked. And we all feel it's like Yahweh Shai, man. He ran up on the cross, man. He cast a lot of his garment. That shows what type of. And yo, that goes into that's how you know he's a king of kings for the Lord, man. What happened to him first? Like he was going to slavery now. They make skin, they make clothes out of your skin, your hair, they put in there and all that. All this starting to come out. You know?
Right, that's why it says Jacob is a lot of his inheritance. You know? Which is referred to as the elect. You know, because we're gonna be ripped and set apart, you know, from the society. You know? We're presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice right now. You know, speaking the truth. For you know, whoever could wake up and get the seeds planted in them. You never know. And it's a dead thing. You know? But
Hey, we're doing the work that's been commanded of us to do. right? And it's in our spirit. We can't do nothing about it. Listen, you couldn't tell me 20 years ago that I'd be out here right now doing this. You couldn't. Nobody. It's the spirit that quickens, right? The flesh profits nothing. And we do this because we're fighting for that crown of life, right? Whether you hear or forbear, it's up to you. Well, it's up to you how about you shop. But we're doing this, all this mocking, all this scoffing, all this backs fighting that we got to go through. Not even from the world, but even people in the truth. Your own brother that you got to go through. After you fight the world, you got to fight your own goddamn brother to go through backbite. But Esau, this Obadiah is for you. This is a special one chapter for you. So we're gonna read some more of this. It says, "But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger."
That's what it's the way you turn back from your heritage. You know, like the brother Judah, Gad, the brother, you know. So you become a stranger because it comes strange from their customs. You know, and that's what the Lord is telling me. That's why we would be considered that all the prophets will get a degenerate man or unrecognizable like this tree right here. You can recognize that tree. You can see it. Know that comes through from fruition. But once that tree does something out of pocket, you're like, damn, that's not that tree. Now you're like, oh shit. That's the way the Lord looks at us, man. You know?
It shows the separation. That's why there's a law where you can't plant two different seeds in the same soil. Because then it'll come out, But you'll know the separation. And that's also what Paul. No, but that's against the law. You can't. They gotta be different seeds. No, it gotta be the same seeds, right?
Oh, what I'm saying.
But I know what you mean, like it's Gentile.
You like, see how you got that,
Yeah.
You can turn the ball, and you all want to come with the sin. You know? That's the reason why you do it. Like, we all play the game. Babylon. All of us. Everybody standing out here right now. We're all playing with the same earth. We all came out of the womb. We were born of a thing. You know? That's why the scriptures say, son of man. Son of man. All the prophets always say son of man. Because why? That humbles you down, because if you're in the spirit world, you know you not good at Howard's son, man. Like, man. But he has to put you down. He gotta put you down to a level where like you gotta come through boom, son of man. Oh yeah. That's what he said to every single prophet. Son of man. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? That's just a humble you down even for. Because it lets you know like who's in authority. We're under strict orders. Like how about that shine? We're under strict orders under him. Bottom line. I don't care where you go to, America, which is Babylon. This is the latter part of the earth. That's where we at. But the latter part. We at the latter part of the earth. The end of everything. Where the Lord is going to bring complete judgment to this place.
Right.
And guess what? Me and the brothers and I, we've been here in this place before. not here, but like going into situations. You know, the Lord like
I gotta do something for you.
the Lord got everything under control. Even with you know what? Even with them over there talking what they said, I gotta respect that. We gotta respect that because everything that happened last week and everything, it's all a gradualism. Even though he told you to go across the street, this.
Well, brother, I say we gotta accept it. We gotta respect it because that is no respect of persons, and that's wicked what they
Also,
did.
but also,
Wicked.
if I may add as well, because you know you got brothers, younger brothers gotta listen to this and see that the scriptures do tell you to agree with that adversary. You know, because we're in a time where be wise as serpent, harmless as doves. You know, and you even read about that with the beloved apostle Paul. You know, where even the Roman centurions had his back when the wicked scribes wanted his head. They were fasting until they killed him. So even when also when Peter was locked up and they praised the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shimei Shabbat caused the earthquake, took the chains off of him. But what? That's how the Lord allowed it to happen like that, so they could speak to the centurion that was supposed to watch him that fell asleep.
Right.
You know, and that's what they told him, yo, you and your family could be saved. So the beloved Saint Matthew was a fucking tax collector. So we all come from all walks. You never know who will get it at that time and have your back, because it's him that's controlling. He's the father of all spirits.
Right. And that's a good point in terms of younger brothers that watch it, because some of them will try to buck up against the law. So that's why I said we gotta accept it and we gotta move, right? Dust our feet off, right? Move on down the street. But we also put curses on that thing. We also put curses against us preaching this word. And that's what the prophets of old did too.
Because it tells you a prudent man foreseeth the evil. You know, he's not going to indulge in it, right? Because now you got riots and protests from men that know the Israel.
Right.
But we're not moving like that. Yahushua didn't move like that. Even when he was persecuted, he said, I could bring 12 legions of angels. 12 legions.
Right.
And that showed a form of not only discipline, but obedience. Because he knew that we got to wait for the Lord. He said, we can't take vengeance into our own. That's why Yahushua stopped Peter from swinging the sword.
Right.
Said, and he healed the boy. He healed that Roman centurion. So the judgment won't fall upon Peter.
Right. Because he said, hey, this persecution has to happen. That's why we accept the persecution that we get, right? But we also will put some curses on people that go against Yahweh Bashir Shah, because they think they're going against us. They think they're doing something against us, but you're actually doing something against the word of Yahweh Bashir Shah, his purpose and his people. Just what Obadiah is saying. It says, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction.
Yeah, but it said, neither shalt thou have
Rejoice.
You're rejoicing over us. Like,
right now, because we're at the bottom. Yeah, we're in the bottom right now. So they have their way with us. But they think they're going to get away with it. That's why this book of Obadiah is so powerful. They think they're going to get away with it because we have been brought so low because of our transgressions. It says, neither shouldst thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. And what distress? Our distress, the children of the Israelites' distress. Because we are under distress. We are under duress. We are under all types of oppression, all types of madness that they can do to us in this world. but they want us to react in a way that they can kill us, put us in jail,
Yeah.
put us on the news. As a brother was going into, brother, I actually did a video on that yesterday. I said they want us to react. They want us to, hey man.
And if I may, because I've been watching all type of current events.
Yeah.
I've been watching because we watch me. That's what we do.
Watch as well as pray.
You know? Because how can we warn you? How can we warn the people if we don't know what's coming? Yeah, right? But I've been seeing a lot of chicks, primarily women, right? Talking about how things are escalating, intensifying. But the point is, they know not whence it's coming from. You know? We know where it's coming from. We speak about the Lord changed not. He always brought famine to our people. Plagues, pestilences, martial law, wars and rumors of wars. You know? So what's the difference now? But this is not only that this is going to be the greatest salvation, it's going to be the greatest judgment.
All right.
You know? And that's why, man, hey, this is the end.
Hey, so what's saying?
We're not going to be captured.
Yeah, it's going to be a time like you've never seen before.
If I may bring out this precept real quick,
Babak
Bashar,
bring it out.
there's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 12, verse 23. It says, tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, meaning amongst you so-called Negroes, Latinos, American Indians, which are the biblical Israelites. This proverb, we're not going to constantly hear about, oh, the Lord is always going to, he always brings, okay, well, check it out. It says, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision.
The effect of every vision. Whatever you got.
Prophecy.
The whole book.
Right. So you got a lot of people's in division, man. A lot of people's in division. Like even like us coming out here on the highways and edges, the Lord has allowed us to know like like the dust. You know what I'm saying? Like they're moving you further and further. Like a lot of these things is I ain't gonna say a lot. I know all of them some of them. You know, from last week to this week, I've seen a lot of attention to this. You know, just really teach them to speak the truth. But now you got even when Meek Mills was coming, you had him. He was up there on the corner. Man, you know, they was banging his shit. Like he's the next best rap. Look what he did. You know, man, like yo, man, like Matthew the 24th. The world hated you. If the world hates you, they hated him first. And that's what we following after. Following after Yahweh side. They want to put us to death. They want to kill us. So be it, man.
And if I may, what did Yahweh Shah try to say? When he knew he was going to be persecuted, what did he try to say? He couldn't save anything. He knew he couldn't save himself. So that's why I say, if any man shot merely paraphrase, and those that try to save their lives shall lose it.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Ezekiel, when it talks about all the righteous, because the scriptures already talking about the righteous man. You know what I'm saying? Always talk about the righteous man, the men that, man, you got men that have it up to here, man. Like they do just water, we'll be sick, we'll be drowning. Because it's just tired of bullshit. But at the same token, you got to trust in your Howard by sitting outside.
The faith. This is where faith kicks in. Because
that's a gift.
Because ain't nothing we gonna do. We can't fight against this devil, right? But they want us to react in a way, like I said, where they can put us to death because we acted in a violent way,
Right.
or they can arrest us because we did this or did that to react to their madness, or they want to put us on the news, say our character, and call us all types of all false accusations against us. But we're going to be found blameless. We're going to be found persecuted without cause. We've never had any cause to persecute us.
What you said about the news, right? Last week, that whole shit went viral.
I did see that.
And we was out there. We was out there teaching.
I saw that.
Not once did you see any of us out there.
Nope.
They didn't put the camera on, none of that. That's cool. That's fine. Because we're not of this world. So that lets you know that all this shit that they're doing, it's just 3 brothers out there. 3 brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? 3 brothers that believe in the Bible and talk about the Bible. So you got 3 brothers that come out here on this corner, and you can say thousands, hundreds. That's how many people came out.
Hey, but when you think about it didn't pop off until we left. It did all the madness didn't really happen until we left.
And we're not even saying that we're hitting anybody.
Right. But that's the truth.
We just believe in that word. Like you said, that's the truth.
Yeah. If you look at the time that they claim that all it really kicked off, we were already gone.
Also, that shows that what? We battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Because all them people are coming from different spirits. But what spirit are you coming from? You know, in this society, it goes against, if you're going against the word, what spirit are you coming from? Because this is the spirit. This is spiritual. Yahushua came in the spirit of what? The word, which came from Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, that created all the elements that we have.
Hey, and
so if they reacting in certain ways, because even with Samuel, there was riots. There was always riot. There was always chaos when the prophet spoke.
In the midst.
Yeah. You read about it, you know, from the least to the greatest, if you will. But which they all was great.
Yeah,
they came.
All men of Lord.
They were speaking, his words.
Hey, but the spirits wasn't riled up like it was till we left. Again, go ahead and read the article. You see the time. I'm like, oh, we was actually down trying to get some food at that time. This was after camp. I was like, so the spirits were as calm as possible until the men of the Lord left, or the men of the Lord, and that happened before. It happened a couple times. That happened a couple times where stuff kicked off right after we left. Basically,
we was over there.
Not the first time.
When it was football season, they was trying to throw the football.
Right. All types of math. That was actually calm compared to the years before. Yeah, actually. Yeah. So it says, "Thou shouldst not enter into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity."
See what we're talking about? And that's what the pump like, yo. Listen, you fucked up. We're gonna hurt people, man. When you start reading the scriptures and understand everything that you've been through, and understand like how you neglected the Lord, that's crazy, man. That's some good tears in your eyes, man. You know, because like, hey, man, like we all fucked up. We're all fucked up. Men think, oh, I know the word, I know this. You're bragging and you're boasting. You can't brag and boast on nothing. You brag and boast on him, and you brag and boast on him because he gave it to you. And you be just honest with yourself, man. You know, but this thing is serious. This ain't no joke.
You know, and honestly, that's being remorseful. You know, meaning like, yo, You know, the majority of our people, they only believe in the Ten Commandments.
They don't even believe in that. They just
That's
know. That's all that they heard of.
That's what they were given
Yeah.
in the society.
And they don't even know it.
So
Can't give you one.
And that's why the curses overflow us as a woman drowning. But once you tell somebody, they didn't know.
Right.
They didn't know no better. So the Lord will wink at their ignorance. You know? And, you know, that gives you an opportunity to repent.
When you see the Lord winks at your ignorance, that's if you don't know.
That's if you don't know, right?
We know.
We know.
So
That's why
we know when you know.
I was getting to
Nah. That's it. I mean, because I have somebody hear that, be like, oh shit, like, I could just keep going. That's the church.
And the Lord will knock you right out this truth. And that's what happens. You play with your Yahweh Shem Shai, you dibble and you dabble. Hey man, that's why, hey, to the best of my ability, I get on my knees. Hey, we all fall down, right? But you can't keep falling down on the same.
You know what? That's the best way. If you want to submit to anything, if you submit to anything, that's how you submit to the Lord. Bow down.
Right.
The king of kings. You fall on your fucking face. That means you give up all glory, you give up everything. Whatever you think you got,
right?
You fall on your fucking face, man. Then you talk to him.
Hey, and if you really care about it, then you're going to stand in truth. Because the Lord, as soon as you think you're going to get distracted by a woman or a job or your kids, He's going to take them away anyway. And it's going to be a dog territory problem.
That's the result. Strong black woman. I done been through this, I done been through that. And yo, you know what? Then they look at that like, yo, you know what? Like, that's my mother. She was a struggle, but you don't understand the backstory.
Right.
Of her father. This is the one that can say the truth. Because your mother is done. You're not supposed to talk bad about your father and your mother.
Hey, and most of the time, with the mother and the father, let's deal with it. It's because of multiple women. Point blank, period. That's been the issue. It is the issue, and it will always be the issue. That's why when the Lord comes back, it's not going to be an issue. Because they're going to be in their right mind. Why they calling us selfish for having multiple women, they don't understand that they're selfish for not dealing with a sister and wanting their own sister to be alone. Because there's more women on earth.
That's just it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And that's been the biggest problem.
You watch ancient movies. You got handmaids, sister wives.
You go over to the east. You go over to other countries. That's how it is.
Yeah.
You saw that video where the dude was like, "You got one wife?"
No,
no.
When they talk about,
they started laughing at the guy.
When they talk about it takes a village.
Yeah.
What you think that means?
Yeah. Hey, and what are they talking about now in America? They're talking about the birth rate is declining so much that they want to give money to people to have more kids. Well, you know how you do that? You have men with multiple women.
That's why you're the Jew.
That's how you have more kids.
That's why you're the Jew.
Yeah.
Everything that's all of us here, we got names that come from the Heavenly Father. We all got names. And it's the spirit that's put on inside. You know what I'm saying? That's the spirit. Because whenever an angel came to speak to the Father, like Joseph, right? Mary. You go back to Abraham, Sarah, Sarah, Abraham, Sarah, right? What the angel said, so you're gonna have a baby over. She was up in age, and that was like now you would look at it like oh, she was old. No, she wasn't, but she was still young in those times. You know?
Yeah.
And the angel was like, "Oh, you're barren." Boom, boom. But yo, women. That's how you know women wanted to have children back then. Because now these women, what they do, they mock the child. Ah, fuck this baby out. What it did. They love that shit, man. That's crazy, man. So when you got the things that's to everybody, I did a video. Slock, y'all haven't been on my videos. But I did a video called He That Sits in the Heavens Shall Laugh, man. 'Cause now once you start aborting your baby, you've been doing that, like you abort your babies, you don't know who you're aborting. But the Lord that sits in the heavens, He knows that.
Yo, if I make that's the same thing that they do when celebrating these holidays, these pagan days, passing them over the fire, shit like that. That's
They killing
they put it
from
on
the
the death.
beginning. From the beginning, they didn't even have a chance to come out the womb. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And who started that? Who started that Planned Parenthood jump? Right.
you say Planned
Right.
Parenthood.
Right.
Because you plan it when you want to become a parent. The angels came and said, "You going to have this child? This what you going to name, and he's going to be such and such such such." That's for an angel to come down, man. And you know what? Angels assume we're fallen angels, but that angel came down to give you that message about that child.
But here's the wickedness of our people, and I want them to understand. In the ancient days, what would they do to young men? They try to kill them, right? There's been several times that they say, "Hey, under the year 2 years old, kill all, of them," right? Or kill all the men off, right? So now what you have, they put it in our own women's hands to kill, to depopulate Israel. And no, our women cannot understand that. That's been systematically set up for you to do the killing of a seed. Wow.
It was crazy because what? When we was in captivity in Egypt, Pharaoh was amazed how populated. Right. Because, showing like our people, that's what going back to,
They multiply. Right.
That's why they came up with these like condoms.
Right. Because we multiply because
AIDS.
We had multiple wives and we were fruitful. And the Lord said, "Be fruitful and multiply." Right. That's just our custom. And that's going to be the custom in the kingdom very soon. And you women, you're going to be in your right mind. But you don't understand that it's been beat in you about the man cheating, about it being evil, about it being something that is despicable, right? In all actuality, it is what the Lord commanded, and it is our heritage. And that's what these other nations fear. They fear the fact that we can multiply. They fear the fact that we can be fruitful so quickly. That's what the Egyptians said, right? Hey, shoot, you got to do something because they multiply.
Yo, God, I got Genesis. The brother got Genesis 1:28. And brother Bashan got Romans 1, verse 27. Let him start with his first. And I really want to go into Joseph, but I believe that's what he's talking to. That's the brother Roz. Roz is the G, man. You spread your seed. But right here in Babylon, these people, they're not going to dig it.
Oh, I think it's evil.
Exactly. But that's why, like, we at war, man. We really at war. And it's not no physical thing, it's a spiritual, man. This is all spiritual. You go out here and try to fight and all this physically, you're gonna lose. Because you don't understand who the Lord is. You know? Going back to what the brother said, like, yo, go to Genesis, man, like, yo, our people was multiplying in Egypt, man. And Joseph had a pact with Pharaoh. Joseph was cool. He was like, listen, man, be good. And Joseph had a good name because when I don't know if it's concubine or was it his woman. I think it was his woman. But she tried to holler at Joseph. Joseph was like, nope, he hard ass. He hard ass. He got the fuck up out of there, man. And now that's why Joseph got put into that dungeon because the woman lied. And yo, Joseph was loyal to the one that was ruling. That's our customs, man. A man of the Lord is always gonna like you know who's in authority at that point in time. And you just waiting your turn. Because you know the same way that you when these people in authority, you know when your time comes, you're gonna do it right. No matter how wicked they are, man. You know? No matter how wicked they are. You always gonna be righteous, man. And that's why it's called righteous. You be righteous, man. So bring that out, brother. So
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 28. And God, and Yahweh blessed them. And Yahweh said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
it's 28. It's about 20, maybe 20.
Okay. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1. Verse 20. Verse 20 it says, and God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open
So listen,
firmament of heaven.
that's the Lord opening up everything, right? But it was a dude that asked a question on Facebook, and he was like, "Yo," he said, "If y'all so smart," he said, "Who was the first people on the planet, and what was their nationality?" He had Jake. I mean, when I looked, I said, "Damn, that's crazy." Everybody Adam and Eve, and this is I was like, "Nope, it was the Adamites." You know?
Right.
So even with, and that's why I wanted to go up to that because the Lord, with every in this one to equal, you know, the Lord, and then, yo, us period, Jake period, dog. You supposed to be fruitful, you supposed to multiply, man. You're supposed to have a lot of children and all that. That's what a man. That's what a man does. He produces. Just like when you got like what's his name? It's April. You got like the dandelions. And you pick them up, you blow that drum, and the seeds fly everywhere. They fly all over. But when you do that, it's going throughout. Wherever you blow the seed at, that's where it's going at.
Oh, pollination.
Yeah,
That's
what it does. Yeah. But you done in terms of dandelions.
Also, yeah, but I'm saying the tree being a season.
Yeah.
When you fruitful, it grows.
But you blow that drum.
Right.
And that's what we're supposed to do right now with this word. We sit out here speaking, go through the scriptures, and it goes throughout all four corners of the earth via the YouTube. You know?
Right. And also, you mentioned the Adam. That shows you that Adam didn't have sex with his sister. Right? Just because you have a lot of that's a major stumbling block for people. They think that it was just them,
Right.
because that's a heavy point. Because you got the
Nah,
elites,
because that's what the boy said too.
you got the elites. They do that when they say, "Oh, we keep it in the family." The Rothschilds. We had the interviews. I know you saw that. Meaning they have sex with their own ancestry because that's a part of the law. You can't even look at your aunt nakedness or your certain cousins or certain because that shows a separation. So why would the Lord just have two people and then they have sex and that doesn't make any sense?
Well,
Yo,
if you think about it, they had 2 sons.
Right?
there you go. Yo,
So,
you know
what happened?
That was one of my
Like,
major
come on,
questions
man.
when I was in the Christian church. I said, yo, and my
Right. Who they were having
nah,
sex?
cut. But
But it tells you in the Bible. It tells you in Genesis who he went and had sex with.
Exactly.
but my godfather was a preacher. So I asked him, being a man, I'm like, damn, you know the Bible, everybody looks up to you. I said, well, let me ask you this. I said, when they said it was Adam and Eve, I said, well, where did the rest of the people come from?
Right.
Well, I believe, I said, I ain't asked what you
Right.
believe. Show me the scriptures. Show me what it's talking about. Now when I came into the truth, second Ezra, 6th chapter, I'm like, oh shit, it tells you right here. The Adamites. It was more than and out of all the Adamites, man. That's why we're known as the children of Yahweh, man. You know?
Well, it said Cain went to the land of Nod,
Huh.
and Cain
Come
knew his
on,
wife.
man. Come on, man.
And Cain knew his wife.
What that mean? He
Like,
laid with her.
Hey, he went to another land.
Come on, man.
Tell you the land's populated.
So you
with other
mean
people.
to tell me it was only Adam and Eve, and then Cain and Abel?
Right.
But then it
Exactly.
tells you Steph. You know what I mean? It tells you Stephen.
And that's Genesis the 4th chapter. Just continue reading.
Come
And
on, man.
that never came out
Come on.
in the church.
That's who the Lord.
And it's Genesis
That's who the
4.
Lord chose.
Turn
Because
pages.
they want to skip over that.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
because you also
Turn
have
page.
what? The sons of men, the sons of God.
Yeah.
What's the
That's who we are.
Sons of the
Yo,
wicked.
Genesis.
And
I
then you
mean,
got the sons of the
second
wicked.
Ezra, second Ezra,
So,
54. If I'm not mistaken.
yeah. But that shows the separation. Showing you that those are nations.
What's that? I'll be talking about second Ezra 6.
These people are so carnal, and they want to deceive the people. So yeah, they're going to say all types of madness, right? That it was a snake, a real snake that used to have legs. How many legs a snake had? Damn dummies! Oh, and she bit into an apple. It was a Macintosh one too. It wasn't a Honey Crisp.
You said it back inside.
You guys are just out of your mind. And you want us to be out of our mind, but we know the truth. And that's what you're so mad at. You're mad that the men of the Lord know the truth.
Yo,
That's why you hate us, because you hate us.
I'm a dope cut. I want to bring this out real fast. Baba Prashad. This is our second Ezra, chapter 6 and 54. It says, and after these also, whom thou madest Lord of all creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So that's telling you right there, man. What we're speaking about, like all these that debunks the whole Adam and Eve, but it says Adam right here. But all of us come from Adam, the Adamites. All right. It wasn't just two people that was formed. They had two sons. That would make it homosexuality. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. You know. I'm gonna read this again. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. It says, and after these Adam, so that lets you know it's the Adamites. After these Adam, and this is who the Lord chose, the ones that's out here on the highways and hedges. And even though, go ahead, brother.
Sons of God, then who?
That's right.
Israel.
That's right. And yo, it goes like he chose Adam. The brother said the sons of God. And that's the truth. That's before we was Israelites.
Right.
This is going back to the beginning, man.
But we reincarnated to Israel.
Talk to
That's what you unspiritual people don't understand.
Talk to
You're gonna find out soon enough. We say we wished it was yesterday. And if it wasn't yesterday, hey, we hope it's today. If it ain't today, we hope it's at sundown, 1 second past.
1 second.
I'm gonna bring it back. It
Yo,
says,
God,
I'm
because
bringing it
that's
back.
why the scriptures say, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof.
Yeah.
The second Ezra chapter 6 and 54. It says, and after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. And yo, you gotta understand. And lately I've been on, this is just my own personal thing. Every camp Saturday I watch this show when it shows you different animals, all the way down to insects. You know, and they tell you about, you like, yo, this superpower, this superpower. And I'm like, damn, that's not a superpower. Those animals they're under strict order of him. Man, because all these animals came to Yahweh Shah to be named. That's why Yahweh is able to tell you, yo, you a viper, you this, you that. And people, they knew that, like, people were more in tune to things back then. They're like, yo, you call me a viper?
Yeah.
They ready to rumble. Yo, you call me a viper, dog?
Right.
Yeah. Like you say, a bitch ass nigga now and this, that. Just take it back. Just take it back. Take it back to them, man. A snake. You call a person a snake back then. Those are fighting words, man. Check it out. Verse 55. Second Ezra 6 and 55. It says, all this I have spoken before thee, O Yahweh Shah, because thou madest the world for our sakes. For us. For them. You asked them if the world was made for their sake. They couldn't even answer. Matter of fact, excuse me. Can I ask you a question real quick? Do you think that the world was made for their sake? Right, there you go. There you go.
That's how you treat your husband as a king. That's the next question.
She said, all my brothers is kings. Because I could have said it.
But
You a
you
queen?
treat your husband. You know what I'm saying?
But
they can talk.
yeah, we can say that. But what I said to it, that's the start.
Right.
Cause she ain't gonna get there.
Right.
You know what education says. You gotta teach her. So
basically at the foundational level.
So
but I want to know her actions.
Yeah, no doubt. But what she said,
her man.
What she said, dog, that's the nigga woman. For sure. For sure. But for her to acknowledge that, it's like, now you know you wrong. Like,
Ah, right.
No, you don't fuck
Hey,
up.
you
So
know,
it
it
was
says,
7 o'clock,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was 7
Yeah,
o'clock.
yo, nigga, yo,
yeah, but also it says they may have a seal.
Right, not according to
Not
knowledge.
according
Yeah,
to
yeah,
knowledge.
yeah, but yo, that's the nigga woman.
yeah.
But it's like,
And they have that knowing,
Yeah, yeah.
but like they're not fully,
And they don't act. They don't act
but
for
this
it.
this
Right.
the whole reason. This the whole reason why I did it.
you know, they don't
Cause
know.
I know they women, and that's for them to confess.
Yeah,
You know who we are.
yeah.
Cause I called you a princess. Most women would say, I'm a
I'm a
queen.
queen. Yeah.
There you go.
Right,
I
right,
said,
right,
yo, you
right.
know you're a princess.
Yo,
She
yo.
said, but my man is the king. Come on now. So you start that, but she confessed that. Out of all of them that was walking,
Yeah, because she
and
kept
she
on
had
walking.
the fucking the little, she had the naughty hair, you know, think shit. You know,
Hey,
like
the Lord
a little
deprived her
girl,
of that,
like a
that
little
beauty.
girl type shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like she was on the joint, but everybody else they was on
Kept walking. Yeah.
yeah.
Got no time
But
for the
she
Lord,
was the
right?
one, yeah. But she was the only one that sat
Yeah.
back there.
She stood
And yo,
there.
you know what? If we was on the other side, we probably wouldn't even talk to her. And who's to know, man? Because you got more women that's gonna make it than men.
Hey,
The
that's you in the kingdom. Man.
144,000 is a small ass number, bro.
Hey, that's you in the kingdom. Man. Let me get at the you.
Yo, it's willing to say get paid
No,
fast.
it's about the one that went
Yeah,
fast.
no,
What
but
you
it
talking?
said get paid fast. I'm gonna get paid. Let's check it out.
Yo, because how else we going to be fruitful and multiply when Yahweh shall come back?
Right. So sisters are going to be left without a man.
Because you know what it is? That's that false doctrine.
Yeah.
One man, one woman.
Right. That's what I'm saying. More women are made. The Lord created more women. So you're telling me
There's
in
more.
the kingdom
Exactly.
that they're going to be left alone? They're going to have no man?
Matter of fact,
Oh, man.
you know, the precept where it speaks about merely paraphrasing, one shall become a nation, a young man shall become a nation. You know, if you can get that about the shop, because that shows right there that that's coming.
Look
We
where
don't
the
have a
Israelites came
nation
from.
now. We don't own nothing. Look at Black Wall Street. Just a little small example, right? They probably had multiple wives. They probably had, but because of who it was, the ones that the earth given to the hands of the wicked, they destroyed it. So that's coming.
This book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 22. And it's righteous.
Exactly.
We don't want any of our women not to have a king, not to have a man. Right? It's a righteous thing.
Right. Right, because we can have many women, but all them children, it's gonna be from one tree.
Right.
It's not like a woman having many men.
Right.
That's many fucking.
That's confusion.
Like that movie, Don't Be a Menace.
Yeah.
But she had a Chinese,
Right. All them
a
baby
white
daddies,
kid,
right?
a
Come
black
on, man.
kid,
That ain't
an
nothing but
African,
confusion.
Korean. That's confusion.
But look at the chosen people. Came out of one man and 4 women. Like, you can't make that up. So it would be stupid to say that that's not a righteous thing. When the chosen people of Yahweh Shai came out of one man and 4 women. You guys, you just be making stuff up because you know you got to turn good into evil and evil into good. That's how you are. There's a book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 22. It says, "A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh, will hasten it in His time."
And that's what's coming, man.
That's
You know,
coming.
that's what's coming. Because now it's what they call it polygamy. When
Polygyny.
you got multiple, you know what I mean? They always coming up with.
Yeah.
That's because they don't want us to be fruitful, and that's the kingdom. We're gonna be fruitful and multiply. Because all of our people's gonna come back. They gotta come back. That's the words of the Lord. How they gonna come back? You know? So
It was righteous seed
and that's a beautiful thing.
of the Rasa.
Yo, I got a swift one for you. This is
You know?
second. This is Exodus chapter 1. I'm gonna start at verse 7. And this is in the NLT.
Huh?
It says, but there matter of fact, start at verse 6. Since we're talking about brother Ephraim. They can I ask you something, miss? What's the greatest thing? There you go. There you go. Nailed. Nailed. Yo, let's go. She said her kids. Her kids. Going back into like a woman always want to have children. They always want to have them. And why they want to have children,
Damn, that was like,
she hit it right on the head. Nailed it. But why they want to have children? Because you want to have children because what? You don't know who's that child going to be. That's why the angels came and told certain people, boom. Around that time, but hold on. I don't want to. That was a good joke. That was a good joke. This Exodus chapter 1 and 6 in the NLT. In the time of Joseph, the forefather, in the time of Joseph, all of his brothers died, ending that entire generation. But their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and grandchildren. In fact, they multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled the land. No, that's how the Lord always tell you.
How that happen?
Come on,
Riddle
man.
me that. How that happen?
filling the land.
You're doing a lot of this.
Right.
You know me like Jack Black.
You're doing a lot of this.
A lot of hump.
And that's why they tell you it's in the spirit of Jake to have many women and many kids.
That's right, brother. That's right. Check it out. Check it out. It says,
That's why I say we shall be land of the sea.
That's right.
But a reference gonna be saved.
I want to see
so you gotta bring that back.
Yo, that was a woman that she had a child. Right? Yeah, so
that was an older.
What about that?
Oh,
that's good.
She looked like she looked like Ephraim.
Yeah, she did.
But check it out. It says this is Exodus chapter 1, verse 7. It says, but their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and grandchildren. In fact, they multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled the land. Eventually, a new king came to power in Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. He said to his people, look, he said to his people, look, the people of Israel now outnumber us and the strength and the sloppy. It says us and are stronger than we are. And yo, all he was doing was multiplying, going back to the brother, his ancestors. Joseph, according to the colors. But yo, it like that's where we come from, man. Yo, Joseph was so right, man. When the woman tried to like come at him, and he was still a slave. Well, we slaves. That's the kingdom of heaven. You know, that's the kingdom of heaven. Because that woman, well, Joseph, he ran away from her. He said, "Fuck that. You ain't gonna have me commit adultery and this. No, you're not gonna do that." But Joseph was known from the one that he was put in captivity under that Pharaoh. He was put in captivity underneath of him. But Joseph was like, no, I can't do that, man. You always gotta be right, man. With everything that you do, you always gotta be right and righteous. And how you know that you're righteous, you go back to your ancestors in the book, man. That's what it was real. We're coming into some time. We're in a time right now. There's nothing new under the sun. Joseph in Egypt, you don't think Joseph was going through the same thing that we're going through right now? Woman, what she do? She set him up. A woman of another nation. I want the dick. And you're a slave, man. So the woman, she set up because she was an authority. Now, if you would have did what you did, like these other niggas, these rap niggas and all that, they go for that.
They
man.
glorify it. Yeah, it's all in music. It's all in what they do. Yeah, they think that's the move.
Bullshit, bro. This shit is bullshit, man.
Because they're so used to it throughout generations. From their mothers, from their fathers, from their grandfathers, they're used to it. So they think that this is what it is. No. That's why it says how the Lord's going to bring a new thing. But really, it's not new. It's old. Because it came from the ancient of days. That's why Yahweh was referred to that. Because he's the first. Well, Yahushua, Yahushua, which is the first, he shall be last. Which is what the word. But real quick, if I may, to back up the brother's point, in the book of St. Mark, chapter 10, I'm going to start at 29, the point is at 30, it says, and Yahushua answered, said, verily I say unto you, there was no man that had left house, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my sake, is the gospel. But he shall receive 100.
That goes back to Job.
It says now, in this time, houses and brethren, and sisters and mothers, and children and lands, with persecution, and in the world to come, eternal life.
Just like those dudes, like the cops that was over there, but they was doing their thing, and they was like, you can't be on it, whatever. It's a lot of misinformation, but when it comes to our world and our realm and everything like that, it's not going to be no mistake. You ain't going to be able to stand here one day and not the next day. If you're able to stand here this day, you're going to be able to stand here that day. They're under strict orders, and they don't even know where they work. The Moors, if you ask a Moor that's really into that, they'll break it down to the back of the dollar bill. This in Morocco, and then they got the American and all that shit. They will break it down. But the Moors conquered a lot of shit. The Moors, and they was Israelites. They was wicked Israelites, but they just understood laws of that, of where they was going to.
Right, and also, what did the Lord say? He's not the author of confusion.
That's right.
Everything is going to be in its established. When Yahweh shall come back, it's in the Lord's prayer. Our kingdom come, that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So if it's gonna be established through what? Through the foundation of the wisdom, knowledge, and the law, statutes, and commandments. Because there's not gonna be no confusion in it. Everything's gonna be in its righteous order, man. The women are gonna be in order, we're gonna be in order. We're gonna be in order with the Lord, with ourselves, with each other, how to conduct our family, we're never gonna sin, we're never gonna, and that's what we desire, man. That's the end goal, which is the beginning. The end of wickedness for the start of everlasting righteousness. People laugh at that, they mock, they scorn, but that's scripture say the better is the end of the thing than the beginning thereof. Because the beginning is fucking sin. That's why we still dying to this day. That's gonna end. Imagine never dying.
Hey, and that's how you know the pride of these other nations. Here you have it, Esau. You got the law, statutes, and commandments, right? You know it's righteous, but you go in and do your own law, and then you try to claim it as righteous laws. That's the pride. The pride of thy heart has deceived thee. You know, Esau evil,
That's
right?
gonna bring you low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back, right? We're talking about Exodus 1 and the NLT, verse 9, it says, he said to his people, it's going to Pharaoh, he said to his people, and now that's how I know it's a difference between us and the Egyptians, right? We ain't the same. We might look the same. We don't have the
We don't
same
even look
custom.
the same.
Yeah, we don't. Nah, we got the. When I say the same, your color.
We got
Yo,
East Indians that
you
darker
do
than
have,
us.
yeah, you do have
And we don't look nothing like.
you have this distinction
Hey,
characteristics. That's how I know. Check it out.
they don't even walk. We don't walk the same. We don't act the same. Yo, it ain't nothing the same about us.
Check it out. It's I'm gonna bring it from the top. It's Exodus chapter 1 and 6. It says, in the time Joseph and all his brothers died, ending the entire generation. But their descendants, the Israelites, it ain't say Israel, Israeli, it said the Israelites. So who was Joseph's father?
Let's go. I gotta be taking pictures over here.
Yeah. It says had many children and grandchildren. In fact, they multiplied so uh they multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled the land. Eventually, a new king came to power in Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. Now you got to go back and see what Joseph did. As I say, he hard ass. Joseph was a stand up guy. It says eventually a new king came into power. A new king came into power, and Egypt knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. He said to his people, "Look, the people of Israel now outnumber us and are stronger than we are. We
Yup,
must make a
outnumbered.
plan."
Yeah.
See that? It said we must make a plan to keep them from growing even more. If we don't, and if war breaks out, they will join our enemies and fight against us. Then they will escape from our country. And yo, escape from the country. And yo, that's why, like, listen, why you think they so focused on us now?
Right.
All we want to do is be left alone. All we want to do is serve our power. How about sitting outside, by sitting on top of dash? That's all we want to do.
Yeah, and we'll do your
We
little
don't want no
meaningless
smoke.
jobs.
Yeah, we don't want no smoke. But we understand that the Lord has set you up to be that. Yo, y'all not a threat. We're the threat. Just for being peaceful. We're peaceful people. And yo, guess what? In the up and coming days, if days is coming, they're going to try to demonize us so bad.
Right.
So bad.
Oh, it's already happened. It's already started. They blackball us from working. Right. Don't think I don't know. Right. You blackball us from working just because we're men of the Lord. Right. And we exceed any of your expectations. That's why you're so mad. These jobs are not hard because we are great people. We are the most intelligent people. And all your sabotage, all your other tricks didn't work. That's why you're mad because we have the truth and you hate the truth so much. And it said, what they say? The truth sounds like hate to those that hate the truth. And that's who you are, Esau Edom, and all you other heathen nations that get upset with true men of the Lord that want to come out and preach about righteousness and preach about the true way of life, the way that you can have life and have it more abundantly, is the scriptures.
Like this is what brings order. Like the scriptures say, the earth is out of course.
Yeah.
So this is what brings order. You know, to nature, to animals, to people, to family, to children. You know, from the ground up. You know what I mean? This word, his words. That's what brings. You know, we see that it's out of order because what scripture said? What the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. So if it's out of order, motherfucker, who's the wicked then?
Right.
You know, because somebody got to be ruling out of order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why the scriptures speak about knowing your enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everything you touch
Going back,
turns to destruction. It gets destroyed.
and going back to Exodus, and this is to let you know when we was well, we're in captivity now, but this is our forefather Joseph. So he had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. You know, you got it right there on the sign. Ephraim, Puerto Ricans, Manasseh, the so-called Cubans. You know, Latin speaking tribes. You know, and that's how you know too that they was underneath speaking Latin. Latin in the time of the Romans, that was a language of delicacy. Just like if you have certain meat, you have languages that you can speak. Just like when we came here to America, they said whose language you're going to understand, right? We came here, we didn't understand English, but we were born here. That's why King James, another one of our forefathers, man, had the Bible translated, you know. But then people try to say, "Oh, well, he was this." So if he was really was like, you saying he's a homosexual and all that, why wasn't he trying to take that out the Bible? And he had all authority to do that. That's how I know he's a righteous man. And then they said that after he died, what about 200, 300 years? You know. Anyway, keep going. This is Exodus chapter 1 and verse 11 in the NLT. It says, so that the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. Matter of fact, let's go to 10. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 10. It says, we must make a plan to keep them from growing even more. If we don't, and if war breaks out, they will join our enemies and fight against us. God.
Right.
Then they will escape from the country. You know, guess what? Yo, the Israelites back then, to this day, the Lord, the scripture say, the Lord didn't choose us because we were great in number. He chose us because we were small in number. Just like when Joshua went to fight the battle, man. You know, and the ones that was around him, like, yo, look at them, look at all them, because that's what you can see. And yo, like when I was watching, like every Saturday, I watch this spirit, it's the spirit. You know, it's like the Animal Planet and everything, and it shows you the whole globe. And I look at that John like, damn. I said, yo, Lord, like you gave us all that. Then even with watching that, it's like it shows you a different characteristic of a different animal every single time. Sometimes it goes into insects, but you like, yo, and it always talks about the superpower of that animal. And it's like, damn, well, all those animals came to Adam, Adam, Yahweh, to get named. Had to get their name. They had to get their characteristics from it. But now these people, now they don't even fathom that. Oh, yo, this animal, this. Well, the Lord gave them that name, And that's what it is till this day,
And you know what? It's also gonna be that. That's why the Lord said, "My sheep are led to the slaughter." Because the majority of our people, sheeps, they just follow whatever shepherd. You got all shepherds. You got
bro.
they follow.
They follow after the one
They
sheep.
follow whoever.
Sheep. It was an instance where there was a dude that was a sheep herder and everything, and he allowed other men to try to. They ain't heard that shit. As soon as he did that one or two, whatever he did, he flocked him. He flocked him. So with sheep, that's how you know that this thing is not for everybody. Yes, we're out here on the highways and hedges. We always are. But everybody out here is for the masses. But the masses is going to be destruction.
Hey, and that's the marking too, right? This word has to be noise to breath, right? Because it has to be a righteous judgment. So you had an opportunity. Even the Lord set you up to just be the wicked, to be a two-third, or to be a heathen, right? But hey, we still got to do our job. Get the blood off our hands.
That's right. Going back in Exodus, in the NLT, Exodus 1 and 11. It says, so the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. We're the slaves right now. They appointed brutal slave drivers over them, hoping to wear them down with crushing labor.
Hey, that's what they do now. Look at our women having to work 9 to 5. They're tired. They got to work a day, right? And then take care of the kids. Hey, man, you just want to go to sleep. How are you going to be able to have energy for your husband or for your kids, right? That's how the system is set up. The system is set up for us not just like in the Egypt days. These Edomites know how they set it up, so they put the same thing. Nothing new under the sun. They're putting the same type of restrictions on us now in these jobs, and that's how they wouldn't let the Israelites go back then either, because we were the engineers, we were the skilled technicians in all the industries, right? We built everything up.
What they going to
Egypt
do
would be
without?
nothing,
What
right?
they going to do
Without,
us?
right?
Exactly.
What they going to do
Right.
without?
That's why I said
Right.
they
Then you the greatest at your craft.
Right.
Because that's what the Lord gave.
Yeah. That's why they're stolen our inventions right now and claim it to be their own.
said Jacob is the form of all things. Jacob is our forefather.
Hey, excuse me, my brother. Hey, bro. Can I ask you a question first? All right, no doubt. Ask somebody else.
Jacob is the form of all things. But these heathens, they think that's what they do.
Think. Yeah.
What it tells you in John 10 and 10, the thief coming not but to rob, steal, and kill. You know? Take your heritage and use it for political gain. And then flip it on you.
Right.
You know? Using your own scriptures because you don't know how to read to tune it to make themselves look good.
Right. Hey, that's why it was a law. You couldn't even read the Bible. You know, they didn't want to teach how to read, but the devil couldn't read the Bible.
That's where it's coming back. When you watch that movie Birth of a Nation, let me keep reading. And NLT. It's heavy. Once again, under captivity. Yo.
Yeah. Music demon on.
Yeah, he gone. It says, Exodus chapter 1 and 11. It says, so the Egyptians in the NLT. It says, so the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. And yo, now we're calling ourselves Israelites. That's how you know that they know. But this is in the NLT. They don't see Israelis. That says Israelites. That's who we are, right? Under subjection of Mizraim, which is what? Bondage. Yeah. Egypt. But guess who had dominion over Egypt? fucking Alexander the Greek. You know? It says, Exodus chapter 1, verse 11 again. In the NLT, it says, so the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. They appointed brutal slave drivers over them. They appointed brutal slave drivers over them, hoping to wear them down with crushing labor. Forced them to build the cities of Pithom and Ramses as supplied sinners for the king. But the more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites multiplied and spread. And the more alarmed the Egyptians became. And check it out, and the more alarmed the Egyptians, we have our children now. And it's talking about Joseph, bro. Fruitful, multiply, equal, Manasseh. Y'all have a lot of children. They're right. That's Israel, period. You know? The more like and not just the more you multiply, the more that you teach your children who they are. When you teach your children, yo, you're Israelite, you this is how you're supposed to conduct yourself and all that. Yo, your enemy is grieved. Because you can pass away, they can kill you. You know what I mean? They can kill you. Now you raise up. Your children raise up behind them. And they're like, oh shit. I thought we killed that nigga. No, but there go his son. Say the same thing that he was saying.
But you know what? That shows you that the Israelites never wear stick. Oh, where they just know the name was just changed.
Right.
You know, just like when they try to Benjamin. Benjamin was almost extinct. They were low in number. I think it was to like 500. But the Lord allowed them to increase. He always allowed the tribes to increase and scatter. You know, that's why we look at different, you know, whatever, speak different languages, but we still here. You know? That's why when John the Revelator, when he saw the 12,000s out of each tribe, he didn't understand at the moment. Because what? He was like, who are these, Lord? Asking the angel. Because they spoke in different tongues, different, you know, look different. You know? But we're never going to be exterminated, man. Esau, you is going to be exterminated.
Got a precept on that too.
We ain't never going to die. Because that's Obadiah. There's a chapter saying that your nation is going to be finagled. You know, and that's righteous. You know, because that's his doings. You can't question him.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 35. Thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
Bro, read that again. Read that again, bro. That's heavy. Yo, the Lord is telling you. And that goes to you vocab Malone's. Oh, well, the Lord, he left Israel alone. Nah, bro.
The Israelites are no longer in
Yeah. We just read it in Exodus. Going to Egypt with Joseph. Joseph is the progenitor of Ephraim and Manasseh. Israelites. And that's who Jacob, Israel, Yasharala, that's who blessed Joseph, Yahweh's sons, man.
Yeah.
You know? Because Joseph, Yahweh's already had his blessing, man. You know, he already had it. So and then he had to come through. He came through how you say he backdoor Egypt.
Yeah, and that's why
also
Jacob blessed the 10 sons. You know?
That's what I was saying. With
the name,
two.
Yeah.
Yahweh,
Joseph.
Manasseh.
Yeah.
That was his two. That's who Jacob blessed. With that blessing, that's what 12. That's right.
And that's
Jacob only
Dan,
had
Dan,
10.
Dan.
Yeah. That John, they trickled in. That trickled in.
They try to bring that. They try to bring that back to life. No,
No, what do you mean? 10?
I,
10 what? It's 12.
Yeah.
it's
You
12,
had
but
you had Joseph.
Joseph had two, and
No, not Joseph.
Jacob blessed him.
Jacob had 10 children.
Jacob had 12.
Joseph,
You mean Joseph and
He
Dan?
blessed the 10.
Yeah, but I'm saying, let's not get this confused. Jacob had 12 sons. But you don't see
but where
over
they
here.
but where did 12 come from?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it came from the
No, I'm talking about the
He's
blessing.
a
Yeah.
grandfather.
The blessing.
So
Yeah.
now if you're saying your father, you have your children, right? I ain't gonna say their names, your son. But he has sons. You're the father.
Yeah.
So that would mean they're blessed to your loins.
Oh, come on.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. He had 10 children. But Joseph, that was his favorite child, and Joseph had 2. He ain't blessed Joseph.
Yeah, that was the blessing.
We can get it. Matter of fact, it's in Genesis. Matter of fact, let's get it.
Again, my point is I don't want to confuse people. Jacob had 12.
What I'm saying is, where the 12 come from? Where that come from? It's not Joseph, Jacob's son.
Yeah.
That's his grandchildren.
Oh, yeah. Ephraim and Manasseh's grandchildren. Yeah.
That's where the 12 come. That's why he had sons. They're his grandsons.
And Joseph.
Huh?
They're his grandsons.
Yeah.
But they're still his sons.
Right.
Don't get it twisted. And I ain't going against that.
Yeah.
That's the truth. They're his sons.
Yeah.
That's when you get that you want to be technical about things. He didn't give Joseph the blessing. He gave his sons the blessing. And we can grab him. Still got some
I got this real quick. Genesis chapter 48, verse 5, it says, and now thy 2 sons,
See that?
Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt,
See that? See what
before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine, as Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine.
So see that? So they shall be mine. Go.
Yeah.
So that's
I just
like
don't want
this.
the people confused. In Genesis
Nah,
49,
yeah.
in Genesis 49, he blesses Joseph. He blesses
That's where
Dan.
he gives them the blessing.
Right.
But no,
That's
he blessed and all.
Yeah.
Because that's his.
Yeah.
That's his. It's like you got yours.
Right.
That's yours. So you get that's like you told me. He's like, yo, man, I don't even want to anoint him until
right.
he had to prove to me.
Right.
And I respect it
Right.
as a father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like proof is right there. That means like your grandchildren, that's you. They belong to you, man.
Exactly. That's how heavy it is.
You can say that's my sons.
Yeah.
My sons. You know what I mean? That's how the pipe runs.
Because even when scriptures speak about as a general, when the scriptures speak, when you read it says the men, which is referred to as everyone, as the nations, women, children as well. But it's with the men, just backing you up, like going back, because that's the foundation.
Just to make the point that we have right now.
I got the book of Genesis real quick, 48 and verse 17. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand
See that? There you go.
upon the head of Ephraim.
There you go. See that?
It displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And
So
Joseph,
now this is going into the blessings of the two sons. That's
Manasseh was older.
yeah.
yeah,
This
You
one
know,
with the blessing.
getting that blessing.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
which
Jacob.
would be the
What was Jacob? What was Jacob?
Right. He was young.
He was the younger.
Yeah.
Come on now.
which would be the Cubans, the so-called Cubans today.
Yeah. Right.
Let's talk about
It says, and Joseph said unto his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head.
it. See that? Come on, what you said, brother.
It says, and it's I don't know.
It's like 150.
It
What, bro?
says, go back to Genesis chapter 48, verse 19. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his
He shall be great.
younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations.
So now look at Ephraim. Is Ephraim not more powerful than Manasseh? Because everybody want to be like Ephraim. Bottom line. Because you got your southern, you got your northern and your southern tribe. On the northern tribe, that's Judah. Hands down. The northern tribe will be Ephraim. All the Latin speaking nations. You know? And everybody, like you got these women out here, a lot of them want to be Ephraimites. Talk about the women that look like another nation. That's how you know that the nation is strong. This is all scriptures. The reason why these people act the way they act. You know?
Right. But you can see that through the spirit of these different tribes. You know? They stick together for the most part. Issachar, Benjamin, you know? You can see the stuff. It's all, we all one. But right now, it's a because of the curses, as a nation, we fell as a nation. So we got to deal with the curses as a nation. But our people are starting to really wake up to realize, like, yo, you my fault.
And they set it up with us divided country. We can't even amongst Judah, be peaceful. Right?
Yeah.
You got this gang, you got this corner, oh, this is my block. In the next block, you have war with Spider-Man. You have war for what? You got so many so-called Mexican gangs, right, going against one another, right? Like,
But see, with us, it's true. We're not waving. You got a yellow flag, I got a red flag, he got a blue flag. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're coming from different walks of life.
Wow.
Different, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Brazilians, black, whatever. In one circle, speaking the name of the Lord.
Hey, and in all actuality, we got Judah, Gad, Ephraim, right? We're coming under one name, one nation, one law, one baptism, all that, right? As one. There's no difference. They put a difference in us.
They put it, separation.
They put it so we can be
That's
separated.
the truth. Because, but no matter wherever you go at, I'm going to just speak on Philadelphia. But no matter where you go at in Philadelphia, hood to hood, Yo, you got people that live across the street from each other, but they act just the same. There's Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Gad, you know what I mean, Manasseh, all of them. Even going over to New Jersey, man. Going to California. Wherever Jake at, it's going to be Jake problems. Jake is going to be Jake, man. You can't get around that. You know? You cannot get around that. And that's, and like the brother said, it's so, Esau is so crafty, they split up everything. I'm going to separate y'all. And y'all, you could live right next door to another Jake. He might be, use the terms they got, Mexican. You might be a so-called black man. But these motherfuckers, they chop it up, man. To make you look like you're different. When you're the fucking same.
Right.
Even going down to cooking your food, man. Yeah. Beans and rice and all that. Yo, Jamaicans do the same thing. Ephraim do the same thing.
Yeah.
The same.
Yeah.
That's no delinquent. That's Jake.
That is, yeah.
And again, the bottom line is we're under this, the law, statutes, commandments of this Bible. That's the same. One faith, one baptism, one law.
Excuse me.
Also showing it. Hey, wherever we went to, came up with curses.
Right. Hey, it says, I told that brother. That's why we came to Moses.
But so what it say? Jacob shall not envy Ephraim, or Ephraim shall. If I got it backwards,
yeah.
I might got it. I might just maybe paraphrase it. Yeah.
Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
Like going to the other tribes, northern and southern. You need to be fully at peace. But
we understand we're one people.
Exactly. Yeah. Not fucking Japanese, not all the nations. That's why the Lord made a separation. You know, you read about Deuteronomy 32 and 8. The Lord separated the nations from their inheritance. You know, but his portion was what? Jacob. You know, and
we had a lot of his inheritance.
Philadelphia is very heavy on primarily Muslims because they're the closest. You know, Ishmael was the cousin, but they wasn't given the promise. They wasn't given the covenant. You know what I mean? That's why they're the closest to, even with their apparel. You know, the way they pray.
They were given a blessing. They were given a
blessing, right? Not the blessing. That's why Esau is Satan don't like that. But that's why Esau is trying to get the blessing.
Right.
But you can't get something you sold already.
One blessing.
You sold it already. That's like a bunch of men in the Hollywood industry. They sold their soul, but now they're trying to get it back. What it tells you, if a man sells his soul, what can he get in exchange for that? So Esau, you can't get none in exchange for that. You got your exchange, which is your wealth. You know, your jobs. You was given the fatness of the earth. So you can't get your blessing back. You sold your soul. You can't get your blessing back. You know, you got your blessing, which is now ruling over us, the fatness of the earth, the cars, the toys, whatever. Having the most precious people under your feet right now. You know, for a period of time. You know, but that's why we know that this is all temporary. Because the Lord, if not, it would have not said, he knows that he had but a short time. That's why the Lord's going to use it to come with great wrath to try to hoard up everything he's been trying to save. Just like these motherfuckers panic buying. You can't hoard up what's about to be destroyed. The only thing you can save You can, matter of fact, you can't save man. The Lord it's up to him if he's gonna save you. You know, because you could think you're saving something or somebody, but we can't even save ourselves. You know, brother that. Esau can't save themselves. They can't run from the judgment. You know? That's why the Lord's starting with his house first. You know?
Yeah, there's one seed that has a promise, right? So he's blessed Ishmael, he's blessed Esau. But hey, one seed has a promise. And that's the children of Israel. That's the Israelites. That's us. Lord willing, we be that number. Lord willing, we be those men that have not only been called but chosen.
Exodus chapter 1 in the NLT, and verse 13. It says, so the Egyptians worked the people of Israel without mercy. They made their lives bitter, forcing them to mix mortar and make bricks, and do all the work in the fields. They were ruthless in all their demands. Then Pharaoh, king of Egypt, gave this order to the Hebrew midwife, Shiphrah and Puah. When you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. If the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live. And yo, God damn, woo, I'm ready to throw this fucking phone. Because that lets you know the significance of a man. Moses, his mother floated his ass down the Nile River to become one of Pharaoh's daughters. She raised him just like her own. She knew that he was an Israelite. Plus, rock, you know? That's the same thing now. It's grievous on us, man. It's grievous on us, man. If you have a child, kill him. What if it's a girl? Let her live. That's crazy. And what is the word is all about? 144,000 men.
It's killing the legacy.
Men. Cunt. You might kill a prophet. And you think, and you wonder why we're here in Babylon now. We're here in America. The Planned Parenthood and all that. That's the same thing. You pass your child over to Mullah, you're trying to kill him, man.
Right, and also remember when Yahushua was born, you know, during the Herodian dynasty, kill all the firstborn, cattle and all that. Because Yahweh did that, killed them, you know?
No, that's
But when Yahushua was born, he was trying to capture Yahushua. That's why he wanted all the firstborn to be slaughtered. But it just shows the significance of the male in general.
Yeah. Hey, what happens when they went into war? They kill all the men, right? Use the woman as spoil.
They said kill the mother. Right? Said kill the mother. Because they know that the lineages, the nations come from the men. They say, yo, kill all the females. For what? Because they're just the incubators. Huh? I don't know if y'all got, that was it on that.
I'm going to continue on. Back in Exodus chapter 1, verse 16 again. It says, when you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. If the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live. So that's how you know it's a difference between us and the Egyptians. We saw it coming up, and it's going to equal. You know, we're fruitful and multiply in that land. Even now, they don't want us to. That's why psychologically, that's why they call you a minority. You're not enough. You're not this. When they're really the real minority, according to this book, what it says. We're not stupid. We're not dumb. We go to these schools and they make you be dumb. They make you stupid. And a lot of niggas that go to these joints, yo, their whole life is basically from a young boy to middle school, grade school, middle school, high school, college. You got the same mentality, man. But you got somebody telling you what the fuck to do. Man, you can have a fucking garden and plant that and learn from nature. Because your fucking body came from nature, man. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If you go into these buildings, I'm gonna listen to Dust tell me how I'm supposed to conduct my nation when this book tells me. And it tells me about yours. Yes, you're in power right now, and we have to submit to that. But there's certain things that you can't go for, like taking the MOTB. You're not supposed to do that. That's the end all be all. And that's Esau trying to reach out like, this is it. You better submit to me. Man, fuck you, nigga. Ain't no horse you hold in there. And I pray that the Lord keep a spirit on me like that. I'm susceptible just like every other man. I'm not no greater than any other man. And I would never put myself on a pedestal over any other man. You know? I submit to Yahweh Basimi outside. Rashima Shapadash. It's the best thing to do. Especially in the place that he created. And Yahweh sent his only begotten son. It's Yahweh shot, man. These fucking niggas, they don't even understand. Like, you really out there talking, telling the truth for your own people. But it's only for the elect. But everybody not going to get it. They're not supposed to. But that's cool. But you got it. Back in Exodus. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 17, it says, but because the midwives feared the Most High, they refused to obey the king's orders. They allowed the boys to live. Damn. They allowed the men child to live. The boys. They wasn't trying to get why back in that time because they wanted to have the next prophet. They was looking for the Messiah, man. Yahweh side. That's what they was looking for. That's why the women was like, nope, I'm gonna have this baby. But now they're for them. They don't care about the next generation. That's just Generation Z. The end. The last letter in the alphabet with fucking America is Z. The English language is Z. The end language, man. The end letter.
Generation Z.
That's why I did a Generation X is in it. You think these people don't know? Check it out.
They condemning themselves.
That's right. Exactly. It says, Verse 7, I'm gonna read verse 16 again. It says, back in the Exodus chapter 1, verse 16 in the NLT, it says, when you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. If the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live. But because of the midwives, fear the Most High. Matter of fact, let's get that word midwife. Can I ask you a question, miss? Have you been praying to the That's right. She said that the seed that is planted, supposedly. She said the seed that was planted in you. She ain't say this my child. She said the seed that's planted in me. And what we reading about. That's what
That's all you need right there.
she said because of the seed.
She was an older one.
Hey,
So what we reading about? What we about to get? The midwives. Hold on. Get this real quick. Camera.
Strong's H3205. Yalad.
Says it alive. Alright, which is the midwife. It says to bear, bring forth, beget, gender, travail. To bear, bring forth, and that's crazy because she just walked past with a child that she just buried after he just talked to the woman. She said she had it. But then you still got these women that's wicked that try to F up the seeds and all that. And they try to take the father away from the child, right? It says to bear, bring forth of childbirth, of distress, of wicked, to beget, to be born, to cause or help to bring forth. You know? So you got a lot of women out here that's righteous, just want to have your seed. You know, then you got a lot of women out here that have your seed just to torment them, man. They all brought up for a reason. You know? They all brought up for a reason. Check it out. Let's go back. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 18. It says, so the king of Egypt called for the midwives. Why have you done this? He demanded, why have you allowed the boys to live? Going back to what the brother said about your house. That's how you know how significant that a man is. A man's son. I want to ask a dude. I want to ask a man this. Because a lot of men nowadays, they're caught up in right here. God damn, we're not even over there. We're over here in a secluded area, but you still got these demons coming around. That's crazy, man. I should have both of them. All right, I got a feeling I know what the answer's going to be. Just from judging his characteristics of him, he falls after the woman. This place is crazy, man. This place is crazy, man. This, we desperately gotta get out of Babylon.
yes,
These places. What more? You just was reading out of Exodus in the NLT. Our people, well, the Lord sent Moses, King David, to deliver us out of that situation. And there was saints about him, Yahweh. You were going all the way back then. You know? Without that, our people wanted to get out of that situation, but they didn't know how to. So once there was released into the wilderness, and that wilderness that you walked in, Saudi Arabia, and the Lord sent you to a whole cycle. When you look through the scriptures, look at the map, and look at what the children of Israel traveled. And it shows you they traveled to that land right now, which the Lord is bringing a war to right now.
Battery thing?
God,
Must